Welcome everyone to the Worst Fans podcast. I'm your host Marco, and I'm here with Buck and Rhett. Say hi, guys.
What's up?
Good day.
And boy, we have a lot to talk about today. Let's start off with Taika Waititi and his very, very strange comment to Natalie Portman. Take it away, Buck.
No, they were asking Natalie Portman, I guess, in one of the red carpet openings for Thor: Love and Thunder. She mentioned something about Taika going up to her and asking her if she was interested to be in his Star Wars movie that he's making, and she told him, "Well, I was in 3," and he's like, "Oh, I forgot about those." So yeah, that's not
a good start.
Doesn't make me feel too good.
Yeah,
funny that we brought Taika Waititi up last week because he was rumored to bring back a character that was hated forever, and we all presume, I guess, it's Jar Jar.
Yeah,
and we thought that's kind of funny, and in this wacky Taika style, I could actually see that being something I'd want to see, believe it or not. And then you hear this,
yeah, and then now I just have the impression he's never seen a Star Wars movie, so it's just
Or like every other person out there who makes Star Wars these days, they may have seen it once and they go on about, oh, well, Star Wars did so much for, movie making and forever changed the way we look at movies. And it's like, yeah, you probably watched it once when you were a kid and then you claim to have liked it, so you're a fan.
Yeah.
I mean, and that goes just to the point of, I mean, from what I hear, his Star Wars movie is not going to be connected to the Skywalker story or anything like that. So I get the fact that, yeah, it probably gives him free reign to actually write his own Star Wars movie, but still, you should know the source material that you're going into. It doesn't make me feel good that he's like, not just him. A lot of the directors that they've hired to do these shows and the writers, I get the impression that they've seen the movies maybe once or not even at all. And they're just going off of what people, what they hear from other people, and it's not a good thing. It's not good for Star Wars, and it damn well isn't good for the fans, because we could tell right off the bat when someone knows Star Wars and when they're directing it and they're writing it, you could tell the difference between someone who
it's
actually
the little
knows
things. It's like the little small things that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau put in their shows and movies. It's just, you can tell that that their Star Wars content is thought out and it's careful.
And you could tell Taika is the type of personality where you could tell he's a cocky guy. You could tell it's like, oh, I'm going to do what I want. It's going to be gold. You could tell he has that kind of personality where right now anything he does is going to be great. People are going to be like, oh, well, that's just Taika. That's his style. I just don't know. Him in Star Wars just is, for me, it just does not make me comfortable. I've tried to kind of look at it from a different perspective, and I haven't seen Thor: Love and Thunder yet, but I do not like him directing a Star Wars movie. I'm just not crazy about it.
No.
So nothing.
Well, yeah. It kind of, while y'all were saying that, I had this idea, new directors and writers for Star Wars, if they haven't seen it, I almost feel like it's time there's an initiation for them. And I wish someone would get behind it and say, yeah, you have to do this. Like, sort of Clockwork Orange style, like get their eyes peeled open and you make them watch everything and the extra content. Maybe even like they need to read a book or something, play one of the video games. Like, you need to know how deep it goes.
Yeah.
And then take some of that and play with the toys and see what kind of story they come up with while they play with the toys. And if they get it effed up, it's like, well, you're not doing this right, That's not what it is, though. We know in the end they're not hiring these people because they know Star Wars.
No.
They're hiring them for some credential. Hollywood works that way. Oh, I need it's a kickback or something. You did this, cool. I'll get you a job on this Star Wars script.
Yeah.
And then they end up never seeing the prequels, and it's Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly what
that's
happens.
Frustrating.
It's frustrating.
Yeah, so it's a little disappointing for us.
It makes me feel like the real Star Wars is in the past now. You just have to look at it like, hey, everything from here on out is kind of fan fiction. Just enjoy it if it's good. If it's good, that's great. If you didn't like it, it's like, it's fan fiction. Don't worry about it. It's not from the mind of Lucas. Let's go with that.
Yeah. I have a feeling that because we all three of us were basically disappointed with the Obi-Wan series. We just were, right? We thought it was going to be a lot better than it was, and we expected big things. I have a feeling Andor is the one that's gonna be like, whoa, where did this come from? This is awesome. This is amazing.
I hope
Because
so.
if you see the outline for that show, I think I text you guys or I text maybe Rhett. The outline for that show, you could tell they put some thought into this. The series is very well thought out and how they wanted it to go, and it kind of looks like, wow, this looks like they planned this pretty well. I just wish they would have had that same thought process for Obi-Wan. I could be wrong. The show could suck, but from what I've seen of it so far, of what how
Yeah,
they're making it, it looks pretty well put together. And
for
I don't
sure.
know. I just don't know what's going on.
What he sent was a timeline basically of when the seasons are going to take place, and I don't remember how many seasons there were, 3 or
Two,
4.
two of
It's gonna be two
Andor is just two
seasons.
seasons. Yeah.
Yeah,
This
but I believe the first three episodes are going to take place in 1 year. Then 4 or 5 are going to jump 2 3 years, something along that line. It's going to time jump
I see.
a while, and then the
right up
season
into
two
the
is going to
events
take
of Rogue
place.
One.
Yeah, so
I see.
and
See, it's
that's
cool
good.
about that show.
Yeah,
Yeah, we said this, but they're not terribly close to major characters, and that's kind
right.
of good because as soon as they
Yeah,
start playing with major characters, you realize how much they don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
You
right.
know. But hey, if they can make up their own, but paint it with the Star Wars skin,
Yeah,
usually works. You know.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
So
true.
cool. All right, Star Wars, Taika.
Yes. Taika. Speaking of Taika, Thor:
Taika.
Love and Thunder.
Mañana.
Yep. Especially comes out tomorrow. I'm watching on Saturday. It's getting. I think it's sitting at 71% on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
I think good.
Not good. Not really good.
It's decent.
That's decent for a Marvel movie, but
Yeah.
compared to Ragnarok, both
I mean,
in the mid
Ragnarok
90s.
was in the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah, mid 90s on both critics and fans. Mid 90s.
That's one I actually agree with, as you well know. But
Yes.
usually I'm not one to agree with the fans. I'm sorry, with the critics.
Critics, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, what to think of this movie? I mean,
What I've read so far from the critics, it's pretty much what Rhett thought was what it was going to be like. Where because Taika, Ragnarok was for most people it was a fine line between heavy comedy and serious tone. It was nice middle ground. This one, from what I hear, does lay heavy with the silliness and the comedy
yeah.
aspect of it.
Yeah.
And it could turn people off. But I do hear that people who enjoy that, I mean, they will have a good time. It is entertaining, but if you don't like the silliness part of it, especially what came from
Yeah.
Ragnarok, they amped it up here.
I
And
don't need Roger Rabbit, like kind
yeah,
of craziness. That
Yeah.
which I have a feeling here and there, it's gonna feel like Roger Rabbit, like just
Yeah.
wacky stuff
yeah,
going on.
People said to go
all
into
over.
the movie thinking it's a romantic action comedy. That's it. That's all it is.
yeah.
Yes.
So
Hey, if I've already not. It's not gonna be Ragnarok, so I think I'm gonna be probably okay. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We're going tomorrow. Actually, this is the first time in a while I've actually ordered tickets for the day
Or
of.
day of. I wish I could go day of, but I got work.
I think believe it or not, I think I'm gonna be okay with this movie because unlike Ragnarok, I'm expecting this. I know what I'm walking into, so I think I'll be okay. I probably might enjoy it.
I still think you'll hate
Might
it. I still think you'll hate
But
it.
But
I don't think I'll love it. I don't think I'll love it, but I think I'll have what's the word? A tolerance for it.
You're gonna
you'll
see.
probably like Natalie Portman in it, and you'll probably be thinking the whole time, I feel like I know this girl from somewhere. Like, she looks like that girl in Star Wars.
Probably.
And Buck's gonna see Gore the God Butcher, Christian Bale, up there in a very serious part of the movie, and then you're gonna hear Thor crack a joke, and Buck's gonna walk out the movie.
I know.
Like, I was
I
fine.
think it's gonna happen. Yeah, it's yeah, and that's whatever, man. Like I said,
I don't know what's the actress who plays Valkyrie? I don't know her name, but Tessa Thompson. I do
Yeah.
know her name. How
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that?
yeah.
I have a feeling just from what I saw in the preview, she looks extra silly, and she was pretty serious in Ragnarok. She was like basically at the end of her wits end,
I
alcoholic.
don't know.
I think, if I
She was
remember.
pretty silly in Ragnarok too. I kind of remember
Not
some silly
silly.
parts.
I think she was funny, but she was more like she had
She was
attitude.
silly. I saw Ragnarok today again. She was silly. She came when you first see her character.
She
She's
falls
like
off the
drunk,
she falls
coming
off
off the ship.
the ship.
Yeah, and
She's a drunk, but I don't mean like what I saw in the preview. I have a feeling she's gonna be like, I don't care. I run Norway. What is it called? Not Norway.
New Asgard.
Asgard. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. You're right. Okay, you saw it again. So did it change your mind at all?
It's funny. I really like the first half hour of the movie. It's really good. It's solid. I mean, where it's going, and it still had that kind of comedy to it, but the story had me invested. When Hela showed up and everything, it was really good stuff. It's right when he gets to that planet. I forgot what it's called. With
Sakari.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when it starts to unravel for me, and then towards the end, it really starts getting goofy. So yeah, I could see there is some parts where you're right. It does have a serious kind of tone in some levels, but it does go heavy on the comedy after a while, and that's what kills it for me. It's just, yeah,
I think Sakar. You're right, and Sakar is kind of zany,
yeah,
so it's why like he's in a wacky world out there.
right.
So
I mean, there were some funny parts. I have to admit, there were parts that did actually. I mean, they were funny and it worked. But then again, there was just some parts where it just went a little too like, no,
no, it's
yeah.
perfect. Just
Yeah, it's just I'm just saying. Look, I'm gonna be honest. It's not a horrible movie. I never said it was awful. I never said Ragnarok was a horrible movie. It's fine. It's just it's not my kind of movies. It'll never be like top 10. Never. It won't. You know. So
That's fair.
yeah.
all right.
All right. Well, next topic of the night: James Cameron. Right, Buck?
I don't know if it's a topic. Yeah, James Cameron made some quote about how he's sick and tired of people complaining about the length of a movie, how long it is when it's over 3 hours, because he's saying, he's predicting that people are going to complain about Avatar 2 being too long.
Well, now we know Avatar
So he's
2 is
basically
long.
outing that Avatar is long, which we all kind of knew.
Yeah.
But
You ever even complain about your length? I mean,
well, you know what I don't like. Yeah, right.
He
what's
just
too
got it.
long. Too long.
well, what concerns me about that is that James Cameron was never one to be worried about what people think.
Getting old.
He's old school. He does the movies that he wants the way he wants to do it. If you don't like it, too bad. Him saying a comment like that makes me a little concerned that himself thinks that maybe it is too boring and that he's preparing people for that. So like,
Eesh.
it's not a good comment. I'm like, maybe you should word it differently.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of very lengthy movies out there that I thought were great. I mean, Batman was a
Yeah.
long movie. The Batman, the new one.
Even the ones that were long that maybe could have been cut a little short, we'll give it a pass because the rest of the movie was so good. Like we mentioned before, the Batman,
Mm-hmm.
great movie, great, one of the best movies of the year. It could have trimmed about 20-25 minutes off of that. It would have been a little more, but it was fine. There was so much good in the movie that is forgivable. One that actually I was watching earlier this week on John Campia was the same topic was um what's this guy's name? The guy who directed Lord of the Rings?
Jared
Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson's King Kong. You could have taken an hour out easily on that one. It would have been
Yes.
a much better movie.
Absolutely.
He was so used to making long movies. He's like, I've got to have like 3 hours, right? Minimum.
Right. But when you have material like Lord of the Rings that it fills up 3 hours, it's
Yeah.
easy to be like, okay, I mean, because Lord of the Rings, all three of them, all entertaining, all 3 hours long. King Kong did not have to be 3 hours long. It was painful. I saw that at midnight,
I
opening
did
night.
too. I saw it really late one night. Yeah.
I was just dying. I was like, man, this is boring as hell.
Sleepy. I think
We're
you got home at like
hour
3 in
into
the
the movie, and we're not even on Skull Island yet. I'm like,
That's bad.
yeah, it was bad.
Eesh.
But yeah, it just depends on the story of the movie. I mean, if you have enough material to fill up 3 hours, it could be 4 hours for all I care. Shoot, as long as it's good. Yeah, James Cameron also said that he's sick of people complaining about the length of movies because kids nowadays sit in front of the TV and watch 5 episodes straight, 5 hours long on streaming an episode of Netflix show or whatever. I don't think it's quite the same thing, but yeah,
or mine just watched like YouTube back to back to back to back to back
yeah,
all day long.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That's all.
I could see him too having very, he's been working on this sucker for a while, all these movies, all the sequels, and it's probably like I could see the slowness to it, like watching a scene happen, maybe 5 minutes happens, there's no dialogue, you're just watching
Yeah.
the beautiful scenery and a story tell itself without words, and I could see it happening a lot.
Yeah.
So he could probably make it a
You
little.
know what? I just remember he also said, I just come back to me now. He also said that Avatar 4 and 5, he might let someone else direct it because
Oh.
it might be too much for him.
He'll be 90.
Yeah. So
Yeesh. Hmm.
Interesting.
Interesting.
I wonder who would pick for his protege.
I
Hmm.
could.
Taika. You see that dragon thing
God.
over there? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go tie my ponytail to it. I'm gonna fly around on it.
You know, if Taika Waititi was to direct a Masters of the Universe movie, he'd be perfect for that. I'd be all on board for that.
Dude, that's what Thor Ragnarok was.
That's what he should direct.
It was Masters of the Universe. I remember saying, how is the He-Man movie gonna beat this? Because this is exactly what it should be. Is funny, cool, futury, fantasy, little heart, little seriousness. Anyway, yeah. Yep.
All right.
Dolph
Well,
Lundgren's still gonna play He-Man.
time for our main topic of the night. The big one, we'll say. Stranger Things finale.
Oh, that crap. Yeah.
The one guy on the internet. Says
The one guy said that sucked.
Yeah.
I mean,
Stranger Things.
I truly loved it, to be
he's
honest.
joking. It was amazing.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it was great, man. You know, you go ahead. You go ahead, Marco. You start.
Yeah, I mean, going into the first episode of that was 90 minutes long or whatever it was, hour and 37. I don't even remember. It was a little slow, and I remember thinking to myself, man, this has to pick up because this finale has to be like epic.
Really,
you
thought it was slow?
I thought at first it was a little slow, just a little bit. And then that all the stuff that happened in the lab with Elle, and it's just it was just a great setup for the next episode. It's basically a whole movie. I remember staying up like at, what was it, 1 o'clock in the morning or something. Like, all right, we gotta start the next episode. We just have to, because I can't sit down and not watch it. But I was up the whole time watching that because of how incredible they did. I was shocked. How all the actors that were kids, they all did fantastic. The actress who plays Max, she did great. The Eddie, the actor who plays Eddie, oh my god, I just brought tears to my eyes. Let me tell you, it's just perfect. Such a good role. His big moment that he had, playing the Metallica song. I said it earlier today. What was it? Master Puppets. Thank you. Him and Dustin's relationship, it was so good. Man, it's just, there's so much to say about the show that during the show you're just like eyes peeled and just watching it end to end and just realizing you're watching a masterpiece. That's all I really have to say.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah. Good highlights. You hit all the wave tops. I think we're going into the next season now with the same villain, excuse me, not a new villain.
Vecna, yeah.
But did we all kind of gather that he wandered upon the Mind Flayer and then got absorbed? Like, the Mind Flayer is running him, right? Or did I misunderstand that?
That's what it looks like.
I don't know if
we're gonna get into that in season 5.
I don't know if it's the Mind Flayer that's running him or the Mind Flayer.
The Mind Flayer got inside him.
Right. The Mind Flayer got inside him, but wasn't that thing in Russia also the Mind Flayer? That
I did see that. Yeah, it was like this.
We don't know. Yeah, we don't know exactly if it's a piece of it
because
or
in season 3, when they killed the Mind Flayer in the mall, that stuff escaped from it again, and I'm assuming that's what it is in Russia. That's what and then that stuff escaped again. So I don't know. It's a little confusing. But when you go back to seasons like 2 and 3, and like you hear like verbal words come out of people's mouths that are being overthrown by the Mind Flayer, and they're talking to Elle and be like, "Oh, we did all this for you," almost like Vecna had an influence on the Mind Flayer because everything's for 11. Almost. So I feel like, in the sense that Vecna and the Mind Flayer had like a mutual partnership. So I feel like he wasn't controlling him. I feel like they were kind of even.
Yeah, they needed each other. The Mind Flayer had been sitting there waiting for a way to get out and have purpose on the other side, and he got there kind of trapped in a sense
Yeah.
with his own powers. They each were like, "Wow, I could take a lot of what you've got, and that could do me some good."
Yes.
So it almost is like a partnership, isn't it? Like I'm debating here. I don't know, but
I don't know either.
theorizing.
Yeah, I think it's just a theory. I don't know. And I think everyone who's probably ever come in contact with
Yeah.
the Mind Flayer or Vecna or whatever is probably something's gonna click, and they're probably gonna join him in a sense. Probably like might be mind controlled again because they've just come in contact with him. He's probably gone to this point of being so powerful. Exactly. It could be Will, it could be Nancy, because they've all been in contact with him. So it could be Max again, even though she's. What do you guys think is gonna happen with Max at this point?
She'll come back.
Yeah, I mean, they would have just killed her off completely. I think so. I should be back in some.
Yeah, but
form
I mean, I think she's blind. One, I think that's stuck. I think she's staying blind. And when Elle went inside her head, she couldn't really find anything. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, she's technically dead. She's in a coma. I mean, that's how I took it. I mean, the only reason why she's still alive is because I think Elle kind of kept her alive somehow. But
Elle did an episode 9 force heal, you know.
She officially died, or else that whole thing wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I'm so happy that Jock got split in half, whatever his name was.
That was a good death.
That was awesome. He deserved
We talked about that. It's like, everyone in my house was happy that happened, and I was like, they almost went a little too far with that guy to me. Like, I know they introduced a bad character. They needed like a real world villain, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's like, for a while, you were like, okay, he's pissed off his girlfriend's dead. I get that. He wants some kind of revenge. But he was being very, like, civil, even with Lucas having said he had been a part of that. He's like, okay, well, I'm sure your sister's not a part of that, but we just need to figure out what's going on. Like, he was very okay with it. And then he got the mob fired up. I'm surprised the cops didn't arrest him right then for, inciting riots. And then then he turns into, like, hillbilly, hickman, vigilante, and it was just like, come on, asshole. You know what? It almost felt like at the end, like, kind of a poorly written character. At first I was like, if he's questioning himself and becomes good in the end, then we'll have two Steve Harringtons. So I guess they didn't want that.
No.
But I thought it was a little strange that he died. I guess everyone's rooting for it because they made him such a villain at the end, but yeah, anyway, wasn't important.
I don't think he was a poor character at the end. I mean, I think most of his motivation was the fact that he felt he was lied to, and he thought that the whole Dungeons and Dragons group was a devil worshipping group. You know what I mean? That he got stuck that in his head.
Yeah.
So
he thought
they really went with the stereotype.
He couldn't believe that his girlfriend would actually go to Eddie for drugs. It wouldn't compute in his head. So he thought that she was basically poisoned, and
mind control or something.
That was just, motivation. I mean, look what happened to Anakin, for God's sakes. I mean, it's like you couldn't see Anakin killing a bunch of younglings or what? It just
it
kind of said. I got you. It just felt like a cliche to me, like especially no one in Hawkins has his accent. He was the only one with that Southern accent. It was just kind of like, all right, yeah, I get what you're going. I get where you're going with this. So thanks.
Maybe he was transferred in senior year, and he was just
he was so inspirational just from 1 year.
Yeah, man. Look, this season, man, it was outstanding. Basically, what you mark, man. Everything from the acting, the way it was set up. I love how everyone was separated this season and everyone was brought together. The way they executed that was so great, and the confrontation between Elle and Vecna. God, that was so good. It was so good. It was what are the words I'm looking for? The way all things should be set up,
Yeah.
I mean, throughout the whole season, Vecna was brought up to be this cool villain. They give him backstory, they give him meaning, they gave him the backstory between him and 11. So when they had that confrontation, man, it hit. It was emotional. Everything that was set up, even the stuff in Russia. I mean, that was great too.
Yeah, it was.
It was all well. This season was done so well that scares the living crap out of me that next season will not live up to season 4 because I feel like this was peak. This was like, man, they outdid themselves this season,
Yeah,
and it's gonna be hard. It
it is
really
going to be
is.
hard. They really have to have like a very thought out plan for season 5 to turn out as good as season 4.
Yeah. Eddie, doing his concert.
Oh, so awesome.
I mean, that's gonna be epic. That's gonna stand out for a long time. His character dying sucks, but part of me did expect it. I mean, I feel like that was a safe one to
You
take.
you
So,
theorized that last week that he was going to
no,
die. Yeah,
I theorized Mike was gonna die. That's what I mean, if they were gonna go a certain way, that Mike was gonna die, and I thought that Will was gonna turn bad, which I think will be heavily concentrated on next season. I think they hinted on that.
Full
Heavily,
circle.
full
Yeah.
circle. Yeah, and so my thing is, I think in season 5, Will be a big part of it, and I have a feeling that they're gonna kind of go towards like maybe exorcisms. You know what I mean? They're gonna maybe Vecna or whoever is the villain, the big villain in the next one's gonna basically try to enter the real world through maybe Max or through Will. Something like that. It's just a theory. That could be totally off.
Not bad. Like, yeah, Max is kind of caught now in this
now
place she's not supposed to
do
be.
you think
Right.
he needs a host now that it's just open? Like
No,
it's
it's
just
open, but it's not. I'm not sure if how open it is or how.
mhm.
And they did say that season 5 is gonna have a time jump, which I'm confused because the way it ended, it looked like they were gonna go right into what was gonna happen. So I'm like, how are they gonna do this time jump? I don't understand.
That's gonna confuse me if they. I was thinking that too because originally, like, oh, they should throw a few years and put it toward the end of the '80s. But yeah, it's wide open now.
Yeah,
It's like content. There needs to be. This is gonna change the world right now. This thing is wide open, orange. Gook out of there. It's not something that's no longer covered up. By local authorities or something.
yeah, it's there.
It's there for the world to see. So it seems like everyone in the world's going to come start checking this thing out. And if they don't, it is going to feel kind of weird that they just let it go. Like, oh, things are kind of back. We repaired what we could. Um, that's going to feel weird. So they need to approach that properly. The time jump, yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway, I like talking the good stuff. This was awesome. And go back to that Eddie uh, jam session.
yeah,
That was great. I think a few you were even thinking of we weren't sure what song it was gonna be, and
yeah,
when it
Yeah,
happens, he's gonna play it. I think everyone around the world was just like, "What's he gonna play? Here we
yeah.
go." And the second it was like the first few riffs of Master of Puppets, like, dang. First of all, I'm
No
like,
way, no
Metallica
way.
gave him if Metallica got on board with that, because they don't let their songs go for many
We did.
movies.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
years, they didn't have any of their songs in movies. I think it was Mission Impossible 2, finally they let a song.
Well,
Uh,
they did their own original song for that for Mission Impossible too. It wasn't even
you're right.
regular.
yeah,
So
After
yeah,
that, they didn't put their regular songs and things for a while. If it happened after a while, they started to like give in, but it means a lot to them, I guess, if Stranger Things got it.
yeah.
So
yeah.
that's
Recently,
great.
Metallica posted on TikTok of them playing Master of Puppets, and he says, "Have you heard any good songs lately?" And then the top comment was Netflix, and they said, "I've heard this somewhere before." It was
Yeah,
funny.
Uh,
yeah.
yeah,
They're
must have
on
known.
board. That was
They're
great.
totally on board with that. But yeah, I could just like there were so many iconic imagery of him standing there, just freaking playing that axe and
Yeah,
the red lightning in the background. It felt so like an Iron Maiden cover. It was just the coolest
yeah.
thing
It was
ever.
very very epic.
Like,
Yeah,
that's a poster I would actually get. It was just too cool.
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
100%.
it's
Yep.
kind of funny right now. I bought this digital pinball machine, and it's skinned pretty cool. It kind of looks like old metal albums, and I like it. But I'm thinking I've discovered you can download a digital Stranger Things pinball table, and it looks pretty cool.
Hmm.
Cool.
And I'm like, you know what I want to do? I think I want to go buy like some vinyl stick, like get the you can do a custom like that body exists, so you can put it on a graphic and put your own stuff. And I'm thinking in my head, if I do Stranger Things, because I think that's what I want to theme it now. I was like, what iconic stuff? And before I saw this, I already had a couple in my head. And that's definitely gonna make it now. That one's gonna be like one of the side panels for sure. So
Yeah.
featured because it's just too damn cool.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Mm.
It's a great show, man. I just hope it sticks to landing. Sticks to the landing
Well,
because
Yeah.
what are our theories for season 5? What are our expectations? What do we think's gonna happen?
I mean, of course, it's kind of hard not to have expectations because this season was so great. It's funny, I didn't really have many expectations going into this season
Me
because it's
neither.
been such
Yeah,
a long since season 3 came out. So, I mean, I was excited, but like we talked about last week, we were more into Obi-Wan at the time, and we weren't really. Like, oh yeah, cool, Stranger Things. Yeah, we'll definitely check that out. But I didn't expect it to be this amazing. It was like it really took me off guard. I
Yeah.
was like, wow, this was great.
Sure.
I mean, it really made Obi-Wan look like a piece of crap compared in comparison.
It did.
So,
God, that's pathetic.
Yeah, it
you know,
is.
it's
Yeah,
when you look at it side to side, the writing, the
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 visuals.
visually, I mean, it just like this. Now this is something
This is a
else.
masterpiece. This is what they did. They
show.
really,
Disney, put some money into your shows.
honestly,
God,
man. That
Put
it's
was
some love
ridiculous.
into it, put some care. I mean,
Exactly.
look, and these were long episodes. I was
Yeah.
worried that people were gonna complain, man. These are very long episodes. I'm like taking like 2-3 days just to see one because it's so long and it's kind of slow. No, man, it was all great. I mean, it doesn't matter how long it is. You could put as much side story with these side characters as you want. It will work if you have the space for it, and they did. They made it
yeah.
work. It was perfect.
And not just the space, they made them interesting enough that I wanted to see what the side characters were doing. You know?
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Like, you
absolutely.
introduce these new we said this last week. They have a knack for introducing a new character, and before long, you like them enough that you feel like, "God, they've been there the whole time,it feels like. I don't know what to do if this character wasn't there
Yeah,
anymore."
you're right.
Do you
And you
remember
say,
the outcry in season 2 when Bob died?
Yeah.
"Yeah, oh, yeah, good."
Oh, people went nuts. They're like, "Oh no, why Bob? No, he was only in one season. That's it." And people to this day, people still talk about it. Like, that sucks, man. Sean Astin died. That's
No.
like, so.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah,
yeah, it
poor
was.
Sam.
Of course. And then Billy. Billy was there for 2 seasons.
Billy died.
There
Well,
was,
Billy was kind of like not really. He was kind of a jerk the whole
yeah, he
time.
was a
So,
jerk,
Yes,
but he was
yeah,
still a loved
how did they do it?
character.
They
yeah,
did it again. That's another one
yeah,
I was like, "I hope this guy dies." And
yeah.
then by the end of it, you're like, "Damn it, I got to like that
Yeah,
guy," you know?
yeah, I'm telling you, yeah, yeah.
It's the
Same,
same way every time.
same with Steve. Steve was a jerk off the
Total
first season.
jerk.
Everyone
Yeah.
Now he's
loves him.
Steve better not die. He better not die.
No, he's the babysitter.
Oh.
He can't die.
Oh, that was a prediction me and my daughter had, or maybe it was my son, I don't know, maybe both of us, but we thought Steve, he's graduating now. He'll be the next deputy. He's gonna be working with the sheriff's department. I'm sure I could see him in the blue shirt.
Bad idea.
Like,
That's
Yeah,
not a
that's
bad
not.
idea. Yeah.
perfect, yeah.
Yeah. Definitely,
The music?
totally see that.
I see that too.
Oh, yeah. It's funny, there's this I've been listening to Synthwave on YouTube, and maybe I'll
Yeah.
find the thumbnail. The animated character looks just like Steve Harrington, and so the kid's like, "Oh, you're listening to your Steve Harrington list right now." Let me see if I can pull it up. But yeah, Steve Harrington's gonna totally join the service, I'm pretty sure.
If he doesn't die next season.
Yeah.
Listen.
Well, he'll die in service, I'm sure. So
Yeah.
he'll die.
True.
All right, let's see if I can hold up a minute. All right. Before it disappears, can you see that guy?
Yeah, I see him. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
once it gets started, hold on. There you go.
I see it.
That's the whole screen the whole time it plays.
Yeah.
And they're like, that looks like Steve the Hair Harrington. I was like, ah, yeah, it is.
All right. So I know this plot really isn't really the most exciting in the story, but going into season 5, who do you think Nancy will end up with? Is it going to be Steve, or is it going to be Jonathan?
I think it's whoever's
love
gonna
triangle.
die. I really think one of them has to die, and Nancy's gonna stay with the other one.
Choice easy.
I think they're going to die.
I think one of them has to. I think in order
I think
for
Steve dies.
I think Steve dies
dies.
because
Yeah, I hate to say it.
I hate to say it too,
Yeah.
but I think he's either gonna die a hero or die saving Nancy, doing something to that matter.
Or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Vecna will get him.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah, I
know.
think
There
Steve's
was
the
there
only
was a comment from the Duffer Brothers because people were talking that it would be nice to have more characters kind of die in your shows because they feel like they play kind of safe, and I think they wrote back saying, this isn't Westeros. This this is our own show where we don't do stuff like that. It's
It
a
was
little
Millie
different.
Brown who said that, like, "Oh, we're not Game of Thrones, or we need to be more like Game of Thrones." And he was like, she's funny. No, we're not like that."
There's an interesting theory going around about Eddie. I don't know if you guys have heard this one.
That he was 10.
No, not that one. Well, I said that one last week.
That
But
one's done.
so in the first episode when they were playing D&D, they mention Eddie says, "Oh, Vecna is alive." The character Vecna in D&D. And he says, "No, I thought Cass killed him. He killed him. The Cass is a vampire hunter, and who killed him with bats. Like who was killed with bats." So people think that Eddie is going to have a comeback because he was attacked by bats. So it's like the same. They died in the same way.
Ooh.
They both, Cass and Eddie both died by bats.
Wow,
And
that's actually kind of cool. If
it
they
is cool.
vampire
If they, I don't know if they're gonna vampire him, but I think
in a Stranger Things way, vampire him.
right. So at the end, Cass is the one who's ultimately supposed to kill um Vecna, because in that game, Dustin rolls an 11, and it wasn't enough to kill Vecna.
Oh shit! And then
And
Erica
then
rolls a
Erica
nat
rolls a
1.
nat 20, and then that kills Vecna. So 11 wasn't enough to kill Vecna.
That's interesting.
It's a very
And I
interesting
didn't even
theory.
put together that 11 is what Dustin rolled.
Mm-hmm.
That's meaningful. They
It's
wouldn't just
they
pick
wouldn't just throw
11.
that in there. Yeah,
Yeah. Do you remember what we're talking about? And when they're
Yeah,
yeah,
it's very stretching. It's stretching.
but it'd be really
very
cool.
very
I'm
too.
totally down for it. If they did something like
So
that. Yeah, absolutely.
okay, so the reason why Eddie would come back, right? So I think Vecna's ultimate plan, why he's killed so many people in Hawkins, and like why all these people are dying and all these people are in the upside down. I feel like he's gonna resurrect all these people and they're gonna become an army almost. It's a possibility that he might have an army, and like Barb's gonna come back, Bob's gonna come back. All these people that died from people in the upside. I guess Bob didn't die in the upside down. He died up there
Getting chewed up by a
by
demogorgon.
Demodog. But again, like some people are gonna come back, and then Eddie might be the Sergeant General Cass next to him, and then maybe might become because also the
I don't think Vecna is the main villain. I think he's up there. I think he's like the Vader. I still think there's a big villain that we still haven't seen
It
yet.
would be the Mind Flayer, I think. I think he's the ultimate evil in that I don't know. I'm just saying I think when he came up to him and he describes the power that he felt and saw with the Mind Flayer,
Yeah.
I think that's it. It's just the Mind Flayer let a piece of him go to Russia and that's why he's kind of split up. But man, I don't know. I want to go back to that vampire plotline. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So, because think about it now too. Now he's a fan favorite. Now they know for sure. Like, let's invest in Eddie. Bring him back. Bring him back as a van, and that would be so perfect if it's a very upside down, like kind of slimy, but long hair still vampire guy.
no.
That would be good, and it's the bat, so it kind of makes sense. Like, okay, it ties in. They plotted it. They put it in the D&D storyline.
So,
That
but
really
he would be good then, right? He wouldn't be
might
bad.
be bad,
It might
but
be bad, yeah,
yeah, which is whatever.
but
Yeah.
he comes back. So
Yeah, he comes back, but I mean, if it's not Eddie, I don't know.
I
It
think
could be Dustin trying to bring him back the whole time. You said never change. You said never change. Use your own words. I could almost see it's like Luke and bringing Vader back sort
he
of
throws his
thing, and then by
guitar
the
at
end of it,
him.
he turns and he's the one that stabs Vecna in the back. I could totally see that
Yeah.
happening. That'd be great.
I think
Yeah.
the actor who plays Lucas, I forgot his name, but I think they interviewed him and they said to describe season 5 in one word, season 5, and the word that he used was traitor. So that can open
Well,
up the box for a lot of things.
look, I'm
Will
telling
Will
Will, look, the way Will was this whole season, he was isolated. He felt alone. He felt he was really no one he could actually turn to. His brother kind of like saw that a little bit and he kind of shined a little light to it, but you could tell he is going to a very dark place. And it's you could definitely see in season 5 he's gonna go there. And I don't know if he's gonna join Vecna. I don't know if he's gonna become something completely different. I don't know. I'm pretty sure they'll probably redeem him at the end or something, but he's definitely gonna go to a darker place. I totally see that happening. So
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah, I can see that. He's gonna be a big part of it. He needs to be. I think he should be. He was the main,
he was
you
the
know.
main. What happened with him in
He
season
was
one, and then he
Vecna's
lost.
first victim that we really saw, really.
I mean that end shot where not the end shot, but right towards the end
Yeah,
where
when
he
you
felt.
feel, yeah.
Oh yeah, and the music started playing. Like I think I got chills. Like my hair stood up on my neck too.
So oh shit, I feel Vecna.
It's good. I got chills right now thinking about it. That was great. Might be the air conditioner blowing on me too. I don't know.
So I mean,
Yeah.
man, there's so many possibilities and theories that can happen in this show. It's just I just
You know
want
what?
to see it right now. Right, season 5 come out right now.
I know it's gonna be so long. What, 2 to 3 years possibly?
Well, they said it's not going to be as long as season 4. They already said that it's going to be probably like around 10 hours, but it won't be as long
The
as
length of it, yeah, not the wait. I thought you were talking about the wait at first. Won't be as long.
yeah. No. Well, no, yeah, no, yeah. I'm talking about the length of the shows.
I don't see why it would be long. I mean, the reason why this one was long is because of COVID, right? Most of it.
No. I'm talking about the hour length episode.
I know you're talking about the length, but I'm talking about how long we're gonna wait for the show. We waited 3 years for this one.
They're writing it, so I mean,
Better get on it,
maybe we're into maybe 2024.
man. We've been through this before, where we know a great show's coming to an end. You're like, what's gonna be left? At some point, you're like, man, there goes the last great show. And there's always something around the corner. Maybe it takes another couple years to get started, but occasionally there's like something that's amazing. Like Stranger Things came upon us, and we're like, I never saw this coming. This is outstanding. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to get too far from it. We're still on topic a little bit. What could that be?
I mean,
What in the
you need to
world?
watch
Like,
The Boys.
Exactly, the
I
boy.
mean, all
You
right.
need to watch The
I
Boys.
We don't talk about it because we know you haven't seen it, but I'm telling you, that show is amazing. It's better than
Any Marvel DC show ever.
I am
Honestly,
telling you,
it's
it is great.
very good.
You're into other like comic book related stuff that has nothing to do with Marvel or DC.
Yeah.
You would totally dig it. I'm telling you, it's a great show.
Gotta try it.
You really,
I'll
you
give it a
really
go.
do. You really have to try it because they're really going all out this season, man.
Whenever I do, we'll have an episode about. Let's do the whole thing from the boys, beginning to end. Talk.
Meets Sopranos meets the MCU.
Wait, what is it?
Yeah,
Something meets Sopranos. What is the first part?
True Blood meets
True Blood.
Sopranos meets the MCU and DC. It's a mixture of all that.
Graphic, sexual content, violence, and MCU. So superpower.
They really like make fun of the MCU and DC a lot. Like it's like the satire of the superhero genre, but done in such a good way.
Us
Yeah.
making today's pop culture, making fun of today's pop culture too.
That too, yeah.
politics, everything.
All right, but it sounds like a funny show.
Oh, it's hilarious. Yeah,
It is a funny show, but it does have serious tones.
very
to it,
serious tones.
Character Homelander, I'm telling you, as funny as it might be sometimes, it's unnerving. You know what I mean? Because it's one of those things where you don't know what's gonna happen next because it's that kind of show. So it's really good.
Yeah,
What did Netflix tried to make some show I thought sounded like it was kind of like The Boys, and Matt and I watched the first episode. We're like, "Whoa, this sucked."
Umbrella Academy
Maybe
probably.
One season last year, and they canceled it. Actually,
Which one?
Yep, last year.
Oh, was it? This was
Something Jupiter.
Jupiter. Yeah, Jupiter something. Yeah,
Jupiter
And-
Ascending
oh, yeah.
or something like that.
I saw one episode and I was like, this looks stupid, and I didn't bother watching it.
I don't think we could finish the first episode. We're like, I'm done. Are you done? Yep, we're done.
So
Yeah, but the Boys is definitely worth a watch.
Boys is good. All right.
Highly
Okay.
recommended.
But when's the next? Like, God, Stranger Things it wasn't just cool sci-fi and mystery. They brought back. It was the first one to like really bring back nostalgia in a cool way. I'm like, everything copied after that. It was let's do the same thing. Like so many other things were like, oh, we got to go back to these '80s times. That's what people like now.
yeah, I mean, it spawned off even Cobra Kai,
Cobra Kai, yeah.
even Top Gun. You know, I mean, it brought back like 80s properties. I mean, you can't really say because obviously Stranger Things is its own thing, but you could tell they borrowed the best things from the 80s and that kind of stories that they had, that kind of making of movies and whatnot. But yeah, it kind of opened the door to um, other franchises from the 80s. You know, Cobra Kai was a great example of that. Who would have thought of like a show like Cobra Kai could actually work?
No
Now-
one did. No one did.
No one
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I've still not seen the fourth season. That's
Yeah, I know.
another one.
I'm gonna slap you.
I'm gonna slap
'cause I
you
can't-
too.
What is wrong with you? It is such an easy show to binge. You will get through with it in one day.
What? Remember we were talking after Boba Fett. That was the next one we were going to watch together because Buck and I get on
The
what's that, big
Oculus.
screen
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
VR, yeah. And we'll get in the movie theater, and we watched all of Boba Fett sitting in the back of a VR movie theater while he's in Miami and I'm in Virginia. So
Yeah.
it was pretty cool to like.
It is cool. I
Felt
mean,
like you're sitting there talking, like, "Oh man, you saw that?" And we're looking at each other. I mean, talking to a cartoon over here, but it's pretty neat still. Yeah.
yeah, it is. It's cool.
That would have been Stranger Things would have been fun. Now that I've seen it, I would maybe rewatch season 4 again in VR. That'd be sweet. It's like a huge screen, and it's a good
I feel like
HD
you watched
screen.
the whole season actually, like you did, just from season
From the
1.
beginning, yeah, it was good to review it. Yeah, watching with the kids. It's another thing, a new generation. Now, this is by far their favorite show. They love it, and they're gonna remember it. This is gonna be something they grow up with as like, oh my god, remember the greatest show ever, Stranger Things? Yes, I love that show.
See, that's what's so great about the show too, because it kind of brings, for the new generation and the older generation like us who grew up watching movies like this and shows like this, that's what, brings us together. And
Hmm.
that's what's so great about this show, because it's really for all generations.
It is. It's so
That's why
freaking good.
Yeah.
it brings through. It's just amazing.
Mm,
It's a shame that
So
it's
good.
over right now.
I know.
Shame.
Well, we got another long time to wait for it. So, as we said, it just better pay up. You know.
You know what? Go exactly. See, yeah, that's what scares me, because originally it was supposed to be just 4 seasons.
Yeah.
That was the plan. And you could tell watching the season, like, yeah, this feels like it's wrapping up. Like this
Yeah,
feels
this
like
feels like the end of the world right now. You know.
so Netflix convinces them, oh, we just do one more season. So they're doing another season. But it's like, man, this season was so good. I really hope they're not gonna go the cheap route in season 5 and just finish it off just to finish it and not make it, not have a good ending. Which I really hope that's not the
You
case.
know, I trust.
I have faith.
I trust Duffer Brothers. I think they'll do a good job.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even care if it takes to 2025. I mean, if they feel it needs to take that long to make a good story and to do it right, just do it.
That's how most companies should be looking at these nowadays. Instead of popping out shit quality, take your time and give us good content.
I think COVID actually did them a favor too, because it gave them all the time in the world to actually do what needs to be done, take their time to write the story. Because honestly, I think the show should have came out like 2 years ago, and because of COVID, it delayed production, it delayed a lot of things. So yeah.
Man, what are they going to do after? Uh, D&D, as in Game of Thrones, uh, directing, writing. Dave, what were their names? They call them D&D, the Game of Thrones creators.
I'm not even sure they're working anymore, because Disney
That's what I'm
hired them.
saying. They screwed up so bad. They jacked up, and then they lost their trilogy.
Netflix hired them to do something, and they took
Took
back
back
their
up.
deal. So I'm not sure what they're doing, honestly.
Yeah.
I did hear that Stranger Things, once it's over, they're doing spin-offs. That don't know
Okay.
exactly be involved, but they were going to do spin-offs, either prequel or which I knew that was going to happen. I mean, come on, it's so big right now.
They're gonna have to like, hey, we got to make this money extend a little more. I mean, we're getting. Let's all not forget, there's a Game of Thrones show coming out very soon.
Yeah.
I think it's like this August, right, or this year at least.
Yep.
And no
Something
one.
that we haven't even talked about a couple of weeks ago, that Jon Snow is getting his own show. He's
Yeah,
coming. They're
he
coming
is.
back.
I
They're
forgot
doing
about that. Yeah.
yeah. And it's funny. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it. I seen the comments. They're not as excited as I thought they'd be. They're actually like,
Honestly,
no,
I'm not really either. I mean,
That's my point.
I love Jon
Yeah,
Snow as a character, but Game of Thrones really just left a bad taste in my mouth after the last season.
that's my point. That we had. Let's not forget, we have a Game of Thrones show coming out, and my point was like, is anyone excited for it? And it's like,
No,
no.
no,
not really.
no, not really.
Definitely
And
gonna
that sucks.
not excited for it though, because the way it ended.
That's my point. That's all I meant was, how easily those guys were top king of the world. They're gonna get a Star Wars trilogy. You can do anything you want at this point.
Yeah.
You messed up season 8, and everyone drops them like they didn't exist.
I'm
Which
not sure if that's all their fault. I'm gonna be honest with you, because yeah, I mean, it was rushed. The last 6 episodes, but they were doing fine for season 6 and 7, because that's when they ran out of the source material for the books, because
Yeah.
J.R. Martin stopped writing the book, and they did season 6 and 7 on their own. And to me, season 6 was amazing, and 7 was fine too.
I
The only
thought so. There's a lot of people that don't
Yeah, a lot of
believe
people
that.
said,
Like
"Oh, you could tell
our
a
buddy
difference."
Matt, he said
Whatever.
it's been going downhill for years, and I was like, I didn't see that. I
Yeah.
actually, excuse me, maybe I'm crazy. I saw a lot of the bullshit they did with the, leaving the water bottles on set and stuff and filming it.
Season, yeah, they
But
got late.
8, I actually, most of what happened in 8, I was fine with. I really wasn't too disturbed about it until Daenerys went ape shit, and then it
Yep.
was like,
She went
Like,
off character. That's when it ruined for me. Yeah.
yeah, it's like, what?
yeah.
However, the story goes that that's what George R. R. Martin whispered in their ears, like, okay, I don't have it written yet, but here's what I'm gonna do. Daenerys is gonna lose her shit. And they said, okay, I guess we'll go with that. So I'm like, is he right? Who's to blame here at this point? You
That's
know?
the thing. I think he has to take part of the blame for that too because he had all the time in the world to finish those books. He had like one more book to write, I think, and he never finished. He still hasn't finished it.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
kind
we're
of left it
supposed to bring Trish
there.
back for the Game of Thrones talk, by the way. So I
Well, yeah,
forgot.
that's
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
yeah. Well,
We're
when is that show going to premiere? I know
House
it's
of
we'll,
soon.
we'll
Dragons.
have to do a Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
It's this year. I'm pretty damn sure. It's like
this year.
within a few months. I'm gonna look it up.
It is. It
What
is.
That
was it
show's
called?
coming
House of
out.
Dragons.
Isn't there a Lord of the Rings show coming out too?
Yeah, that one's coming out in September, I believe. But that one I could care less of. I'm not excited for it. There's a lot about it
Really?
that I'm not looking forward for Lord of the Rings. Everything I've seen about it does not feel like Lord of the Rings. I am more excited about Willow than I am Lord of the Rings.
Said I saw on Amazon Prime in like a week, 10 days. I don't know why they're advertising it, but it says like new trailer premiering for Ring of Power, Rings of Power. So
Maybe
maybe
good.
it'll sell us all on it.
From what I've
All right,
seen, I don't know.
Looks all right.
And it's
it
a
is.
very expensive
Isn't
show.
Peter Jackson behind it?
No.
No.
Mm,
Oh shit.
no.
All right. Well, okay.
I'll still
Back to
watch it.
Game of Thrones, August 21, 2022. So it's right around the corner
Oh wow.
in a month and a half.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we have that. We have Andor coming out in August as well. So
So we have a lot to talk
Jeez,
about
it's
coming
gonna be
up.
a good August at least.
Hmm
Yeah. Well, you know,
Well,
entertainment wise.
the most recent thing is gonna be Thor: Love and Thunder. So we're probably gonna talk about that next week because we're
yeah.
all gonna
Yep.
see it. We're gonna some are excited
Mhm.
and some are not. I mean, honestly, I think we're all gonna go in there with middle expectations. Since we
And usually when you go like that, you're like it a little more,
yeah
just because you're like, I was already right here, so it brought me to about there.
yeah
Yeah.
yeah.
I have a feeling we're all gonna have the same feeling about it, honestly. Except for I think we're all in that, like you said, we're there where we kind of know
I
what
don't
more or
know.
less
I
what.
mean, usually between us three, it's like two of us have different opinions than one person. Like it's usually like that's usually how it goes.
Yeah, no, I mean, wait. So no, because
Jurassic World.
the Multiverse of Madness, we were all kind of in the same boat on that one,
True.
more or less.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
We
true.
all liked Eternals, right? I don't, or no, he didn't
I
like it.
didn't like it as much as you guys did.
I've
We all
started to calm down from it, believe it or not. Like when I first saw it, I was pretty impressed, I guess. And then I saw it again, I liked it. Since then, I haven't thought of it much. And then when I do think back to it, I'm kind of like, what was it you liked so much about it? And I almost can't put my finger on it, you know?
You guys need to rewatch Shang-Chi because y'all are crazy. Bro. I can't believe you guys.
I saw it. I put it on Disney Plus one day, and
I still can't
yeah.
believe you guys that you guys.
Fell asleep the first time. And the second time I watched it, I was like, it was better. But I'll watch it a third time. I'll give it a shot.
I honestly think it's one of the best Marvel movies they've come out with. I really do.
I don't think there's a bad Marvel movie
No, you're crazy.
within the MCU. Yeah.
There's bad Marvel movies.
Which one's bad?
I'm not talking about Ragnarok either. I'm not saying that.
Iron Man 3, is that what you're talking about?
Thor: The Dark World was pretty bad.
I like Thor: The Dark World, so it's not bad to me.
Much of it, but I don't remember hating it.
Yeah.
Um,
Ones we
believe
disagree
you
on.
know which one I didn't hate, but to this day, I can't remember much of it because I've fallen asleep watching it so many times. Age of Ultron,
Really? I mean, okay, that movie gets a lot of hate.
a movie that's so boring. It does not excite me. I don't know why. I fell asleep watching it twice in the theater.
Wow.
I saw it fully when it came on streaming. Finally, I saw it for the first time. I'm like, it's good, but
It's
it
not
just,
as good as the first one. I mean, I remember
I
feeling
think it's
that
the worst
too.
Avengers movie, but
oh, it is
Definitely is.
yeah.
by far. Yeah, it is. It is.
But I rewatched it prior to WandaVision, maybe just to kind of catch myself up, and I think that was the time I liked it the most. I was like, all right, I'm fine with
I
this.
get very
Yeah.
bored watching Captain Marvel. Very bored.
I haven't watched it in a while, but I liked it back when it came out, which was surprising because all the hate it was getting, I thought I was going to hate it too. I was like, no, I actually
It's not
liked
even
it. I
against
liked
Brie
it.
Larson. I just think the movie's very boring.
Yeah,
I saw it once. I liked it. I don't remember.
he was a bit OP'd, if I remember at the end.
Yeah.
A little bit too much. but
Anyway,
yeah.
we've gone into our Marvel rabbit
Yes.
hole, but
So we're
I thought
gonna. Sorry, go on.
a fun thing to talk about. We said something about Duffer Brothers, and we're kind of going this direction, then we forgot about it. But what do you think they could do next? I mean, when Stranger Things 5 is over and the dust has settled, it's either going to be great or not great. But let's say it's either somewhere in the middle or good, so they have a career after that. Um, that's I don't even know what they've done before Stranger Things. That's like their only claim to fame, right?
Really, that's the only thing I would know him for.
All
Yeah,
right. So what could they do? They're like basically another, Russo brothers.
I have an idea. I have an idea.
All right. I have an idea too. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, I think since they're so great and doing an ensemble cast like the Don't Stranger Things, I think they should do X Men. X Men. Come on, X Men.
Okay.
All right. All
Okay.
right. It seems a little big. Like, okay. I feel like they're kind of like not so grand. They're more of a tames. They could do tame very well, but I don't know.
Look, hey, season 4 proved they could. I mean, they could
Yeah,
bring
that was pretty grand. Yeah.
pretty. Come on, yeah.
Yeah, I guess like, Manhattan Battle Grand is kind of what you think of when you think of X-Men. You think so? Okay.
I
All right.
totally pull it
So
off.
here's one. I'm leaning more towards the how well they do in this. Oh,
You
I'm
know,
sorry. Go ahead.
no,
Oh, I
like
didn't.
11 is more or less a mutant, right? So
Yeah.
similar
Just
tones.
one. Can they handle 50?
Well,
Yeah,
the movie wouldn't be 50 of them. It would be it would be
I don't know.
so focusing on like maybe 10 at max.
10, but then you get the bad guy ensemble. You got to get them going.
It would
Yeah. The
probably be a
first
whole
X-Men movie
rerun
can't
one.
be easy because remember the Bryan Singer first one was very, it was fine at the time, I guess, but even as an X-Men fan, you're kind of like,
What, first
they kind
class?
of touched on a few characters.
came out because it was like, wow, an X Men movie, and I thought it was
Yeah, I
great.
finally got it.
I
It's
liked
pretty
first.
deep.
I liked it one, yeah.
X Men 3, on the other hand, was
Yeah,
Garbage.
X2 was great, but
X2
X2
was
was good.
amazing. Yeah, but
all
I
right.
am
So
really excited
while
to see you X Men.
okay, so you know how well Ghostbusters the reboot happened? I was like that Afterlife that was really good. Um, I could I don't know if they would be the ones to take a sequel. I think there's already a sequel coming, but I was thinking along those lines. And then look, I'm the guy who's with probably both of you that I would never ever want to see a Back to the Future remake or reboot.
Oh no, no,
I
no, no.
don't want to see it. But let's say someone shoves money in someone's face and it's going to happen. It's like who would you trust to do any kind of justice to it? I feel like they would probably be worthy. Think about it how I'm saying it. It's going to happen whether we like it or not.
I don't think they
So
would
who do you
take
want
it.
to give it
I don't think they would
Look,
take it. I think there's so much pressure on them.
it's
to? Maybe
it's like
they did
making
season 5 though. Huh?
no. I don't see them touching Back to the Future, man.
So who will? Like that's the thing.
I will.
Some D bag's gonna get it and say, "Sure, I got this." Some Ryan Johnson asshole
Taika.
or somebody like that. And totally put there. Well, I don't. I got to worry about what
You know,
my.
I can see J.J. Abrams doing Back to the
Oh,
Future.
there you go. Yeah, exactly my
Yeah.
point. So
Yeah.
let's say they're asking JJ, and he's like, "No, no, I don't want to." And the Duffer Brothers are like, "We wouldn't want to ruin that." But then the suits get smart for a second, like, "Wait a minute, you guys do nostalgia well. We'll pay you more than we paid JJ to do this." All I'm saying is, if it's gonna happen, and this stuff's gonna happen, it's gonna be what was Ghostbusters 2016. I never saw it, but it happened, and we're like, ugh, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't want that to happen to Back to the Future. So if it's gonna happen, give it to someone who knows what they're doing. That's all I'm saying.
I guess, but I think someone who I don't think anyone would want to take that project, unless they're really desperate for money or something.
Stressful. But Steve Harrington would be a good Marty McFly.
I think he's a little old.
Look,
Actually, I think Tom Holland. I thought for a while would make good Marty McFly. He looks like a little young Michael J. Fox a little bit. I could totally
I mean,
Maybe. Who played
it's
Doc?
more that than he does Uncharted, but
Huh?
Taika Waititi will play Doc.
that would be
Totally see
interesting.
that. I could see his hair crazy, and I could totally see that.
I could see that. Yeah.
They're gonna
Marty.
choose like someone who looks nothing like the original Doc, so
Oh,
it would probably
you know
be
what
like
else?
a
They'd probably gender bend it. They'd probably have a female Marty,
female Marty.
Martine,
Yeah,
and then they'd hire Nancy. It'd be Nancy Wheeler as Marty.
whatever. Yeah. So no comment.
So yeah, let's hope that never happens.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is a good place to end the night, gentlemen, and everyone on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, and join us next week when we talk about Thor: Love and Thunder. Ooh.
Thunder.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Adios.
Bye.